Hey everybody, this is John Vogel. I'm the creator, writer, and artist of the webcomic Skitter. This work in progress video is playing at about 5,000% speed, so it's really fast. So if you're wondering, I don't actually work this fast, although it looks like magic, it's really taking a long time to do. So anyway, I start out, as you can see, by putting down the dialogue and the word balloons, and that kind of gives me an idea of where I can draw the characters and the objects within the scene itself. So rather than describe every single detail of what I'm doing here in this comic strip as I'm making it, I thought I'd spend this particular video just describing the basics of how I, in general, make the comics and what's different about the way I do it as opposed to the way that probably almost everybody does their comic strips. And the way I do it is in bits and pieces. Everything's sort of modular. I draw each character as a separate object, a separate illustration, and then I combine everything back inside the panels of the comic strip itself. If that sounds confusing, it won't in a little bit. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But right here, I am just drawing out all the different elements of the comic strip. Everything's on its own layer, everything's a modular sort of independent image. So right here you can tell that I've taken one of those pencil sketches, this one of Jack, and I pulled it into its own file. I've scaled it up a lot. It's a really big image, and I've inked it. I'm now starting to color it right here, and that's basically what I'll do. I'll just finish this image to completion, and then I'll bring it over to the main file, the main comic strip, shrink it down, and put it in place where it's supposed to go. And as you can see right here, I just shrunk it, stuck it in place. He's now sitting on the park bench, or the stadium bench, whatever you want to call it. And I've got one character done. And I'll repeat this over and over again with each different character, each different element. I'll reuse stuff a lot. For example, the chair that they're sitting on, that seat, I won't draw that twice. I will draw it once and just copy it and paste it over to the other side. You'll see a lot of that going on a little bit later. So what's different about the way I do it is that I kind of draw everything outside of the comic strip and then place it in the comic strip. The more traditional method is to just draw inside the lines. You just draw the comic strip and it is what it is. But I find that this method that I'm showing you right here gives me a lot of flexibility. So here I'm drawing out Chip, the cricket, and I'm almost done, and when I'm done I'll pop him into the comic strip right there. You can see I just popped him in place. Now here's the interesting part. I'm taking the original Jack the Spider, I'm getting rid of his arm, I'm redrawing his arm, I'll be redrawing his face, and I'll just pop him right in place, right there. I'll do the same with Chip here. I'll just change his head, so now he's facing Jack, and now I've got a whole other character. I only had to draw him once, well, and with some alterations, but it saved me a lot of time. So now I've got two panels of characters, and for the most part I only had to draw them once. So here's where the modular technique that I'm using gets kind of interesting. I need to create a stadium full of seats, but I don't want to draw all those seats, at least not with the kind of detail that I know I want to use. So just like the characters, I draw one seat and I will copy and paste it over and over again until I have a stadium full of seats. So I was thinking about, why I do it in this really odd sort of way. Why does this make sense to me, whereas everybody else is drawing everything in the traditional way? And then it kind of dawned on me one day that I'm creating comic strips the same way I create video games. I've been working in the video game industry for over 25 years, and this is how it's done. Everything is, bits and pieces. You reuse things over and over again. You take a lot of different elements, you combine them all together, and you get a video game. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking a lot of different little elements, independent elements, and I'm smushing them all together. I'm combining them to create a comic strip. Sometimes when I draw, because I know I'm recording it, I'll leave little messages as I do it. You'll see one right up real soon. There, just went by. So if you want, you can pause and see what it was that I said. I didn't want to leave a big message laying there for any extended period of time, but if you want to pause and read it, then you're more than welcome to. I think someday I'm gonna have a contest and see if people can figure out how many times I've used the Skitter logo inside the comic strips. Okay, now I'm starting the crowd, and like everything, it's independently in its own file, but I'm drawing one guy and I'm placing him. Then I copy and paste him 3 times there, well, twice, and then I create the next guy, and there's only going to be 2 guys, just these 2 guys. And when I'm done, I'm gonna, okay, here we go. I'm copying and pasting him there, copying and pasting him there. Then I change his shirt color. I do that on the other guys as well. And now it looks like there's a whole bunch of people in this panel, but really I just drew 2. I think I got a total of, I don't know, maybe 6. So I got 6 guys by drawing 2. Just change the color of their shirt. So the comic's pretty much done at this point. I might noodle around with dialogue a little bit or this Steve Reich image, but it's pretty much ready to go. Again, I'm John Vogel, and thank you for watching. I record pretty much everything I draw, and I intend to post videos like this as often as I can. For more Skitter comics, make sure you go to skittercomic.com, and for sure follow me on Twitter for updates.